Welcome to the AI Beehive Podcast, Real Estate and Mortgage Pros. This is your buzz for smarter tech, faster deals, and less grind. Let's get started.
Well, hi there, and welcome to the AI Beehive Podcast. My name is Ginger Bell, and I have with me my co-host, George Chevalier. Hey, George.
Hello, everybody.
And we have a very special guest today who I am so excited to have on. It is Mr. Paul Gigliotti with Prudent.ai. So hello, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing great, Ginger. Thank you so much for having me. And George, it's wonderful to be here with both of you. I got to say, your intro is pretty awesome. I'm still kind of dancing in my seat.
Oh, good.
You should go on.
Well, we like to keep things a little bit upbeat here. So, the goal of our podcast is to be able to share with loan originators, real estate agents, AI tools that will help them in their business. And, as AI came along about a year and a half ago, maybe almost coming up on 2 years, everyone's like, oh, this is cool. And we played around with ChatGPT and things like that. But what we're seeing now, and especially in the mortgage space, is some really cool tools that are coming into play that can really streamline operations. And so I'm going to dive in, but I want to start off with really what your role is, because I know you initially came into Prudent.ai about 4 or 5 months ago. Is that right?
Actually, I've been with Prudent.ai for a little over a year.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I came into
Prudent.ai,
I was running sales, head of growth. And then I kind of started to move into a little bit of support with product development and strategic partnerships. And so I think that based on where we've gone in the past year, the team saw it a good idea to bring me in to run a couple of other departments within the organization.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I just want to dive in for our audience and really just give understanding with, first of all, what is Prudent.ai and how can it specifically help them in their business? And, we have a lot of brokers, obviously, so having a good idea how that works. We also have a lot of lenders, wholesale lenders that listen as well. So, so tell me a little bit more about Prudent.ai.
Absolutely. Well, it's a perfect audience, right? So our solution really is there to support retail and IMBs, but it's got its greatest lift with wholesale lenders that support brokers, broker lenders, and correspondent lenders in the industry. Our main solution is to provide income analysis for non-QM products as well as C products. So bank statement programs, asset depletion programs. And then self-employed borrowers. And then we also do have an income analysis tool for full doc W-2 employees as well. So that's where we started. Now, where the product has grown is always having those income analysis tools as our foundation, our base support, but also providing portals or platforms for the lenders to plug in and provide to their broker partners. So with that, we've got a TPO broker portal. And we also just 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, at the Inman Non-QM conference in Dana Point, launched the first non-QM AUS solution.
Wow. So that is huge. And especially, with the way so many borrowers are now in terms of just having income, we have a lot of generations that have very non-traditional income.
That's right.
So having that is important. And I think probably a lot of people are having multiple sources of income, just given the world we live in today, that they can do that.
Yeah.
So talk to me, George is a broker. So George, you're going to hop in because I know you're excited about, hearing about something like this, right?
I'm totally excited about this because income documentation has always been one of the biggest bottlenecks in the mortgage industry.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in seeing how it is that Prudent.ai is helping to simplify that, especially for self-income borrowers, or self-employed borrowers, or gig economy borrowers.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in it.
So you sit back, Ginger, to your point, just to step back for a second, you see the consumer has changed. 37% of the homeowners in the nation derive at up to 20% of their income from a side hustle. So that could be, gig economy, Uber. I've got a base that's white. I'm going to paint it green and sell it on Etsy, whatever the case is, right? And so we've got, with inflation, interest rates rising, George, I'm sure you see this all the time. You've got to get whatever income you can, to see that consumer. And that was really the basis of growing or our product trajectory as we've grown into creating those platforms, is to support those types of consumers. And the outlying difference with Prudent.ai's products is they've been created, the solutions and the platforms, to come into the industry and shift left. Our concept and mission is to support the production side of the industry first, so the brokers, the correspondent lenders, and the retail LOs, with providing clarity and verifiable income within seconds with 100% rate of accuracy, so you can take that QI and issue a pre-qual and know that it's going to move through. And then our wholesale partners like Angel Oak, Newfi, and Deep Haven get to take a look at the fact that we're supporting, the QI, and it pushes it right through underwriting. So our wholesale lenders then have a really clean pipeline, and it supports them with efficiencies because their underwriters aren't looking at files that really haven't been verified or qualified.
And that's the interesting thing with AI is, and I know that's always the question I get. It's like, oh my gosh, we're going to be out of a job. But really, it's a matter of taking it and using those tools to really enhance your business and streamline your operations to where you can put your focus and your money and your attention on other areas of your business. So for wholesale lenders, and I know a lot of your focus is on non-QM, but it also, when you think about the time, and I don't know if you have the statistics on it alone, but the time that it takes for an underwriter to read tax returns and documents and things like that. I mean, on average, what is that typically?
I don't. So we have two case studies from Angel Oak and Deep Haven, and what they're showing is that our AI solution is saving an underwriter anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 hours per file.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
As a broker, we're looking for tools that'll help us identify accurate income as soon as possible. And looking at Prudent.ai, it looks like that's definitely a tool that we should be employing.
I would think so. Ginger, if you don't mind, I'd love to step back to the point that you made about AI taking over jobs, because that's a topic of conversation. We talked about it at TMBA and as well as the Ohio MBA. And this is a great statistic I just got from my friend Eric Lappin at Guardrail Technologies, which is a worldwide AI technology company. And their stat shows, and it was an article they just released, that AI will displace 75 million jobs globally in 2025. However, will create 97 million new jobs in 2025.
Yeah.
A mentor of mine, John Chambers, who was the previous CEO at Cisco Systems, I had the honor of working with him for a bit. He released a podcast in December that really honed in on equating the AI revolution and comparing it to the internet revolution that we all experienced in the very late 80s and early 90s. And same talk track, everybody was scared, right? I'm going to lose my job. Retail stores are going to close down. Look at how many jobs have been created because of the internet, because it's own economy right now, right?
Exactly.
So it's the same movement, really.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
Well, and you think about, we've all been in the mortgage industry for some time. I remember my first job that I got was a wholesale lender, and I walked in and all of the account executives were lined up at all of the fax machines in the back of the office. And they had a list of all their phone numbers for their brokers. And remember, you used to have to it wasn't even something that you could do automatically. You would put the number in, and then you'd put the rate sheet or the flyer, whatever, and it would, go in, and you'd hear that little noise, and they would fax those one by one by one. And And when we started getting into the internet, and when I came on board, they brought me on board to streamline some of their processes. And that's the first thing I did. It's like, y'all, you can do this by email. You don't need to do it this way. And so we started creating lists. And this is before we had CRMs and everything else. It's like, just make a list, send it out by email. And so none of us do that anymore. Nobody stands at a fax machine. And you would hate it if you would do that. So having the tools like Prudent.ai that can go in and have AI not just, read that information, but I love the thing that you said, they provide a valuation for that. And so it's that security saying that, something wasn't missed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and when you have
now,
a true AI solution, like I'm sure the both of you know, it really lends to the Prudent AI's model is, we've got our AI model for each product, and then we have deployed AI agents within those models. And each model has our algorithm, right? So the algorithm is really the technology's secret sauce. Nobody else has the same algorithm. And those are the guardrails. So when you have a solution like Prudent AI, we were talking about our non-QM AUS solution. When we receive from a broker, when our partners, Newfi or Angel Oak, receive a package from a broker, everything's happening at the same time. We're reviewing all documents for fraud and data continuity. At the same time, we're calculating the income. At the same time, we're indexing all the files and storing them in the LOS system. And that's all work of the AI agents, right? And then you can come in the platform and review it. But to me, the token of AI is you've got those AI agents and you're training them as you're doing your work. And the guardrail only allows them to do certain things, but they go in and do the job. They do the task. They read those 24 months bank statements and they know what you want to consider income versus non-income on the deposits. They know which program you've got that allows for paper loss to be added back on a self-employed borrower because you taught them that. And so that's where the efficiency comes from, because now, you know what we get to do, George and Ginger? Our underwriters that are investigators and really smart get to actually write a file. They don't have to calculate these bank statements. So there might be even a third prong where you say you're also empowering your team to do what it is that they want to do.
What's interesting about it too, just from a standpoint of training the next generation coming into our industry, because, we know obviously our industry has been reaching that point of needing to get in the next generation. So I look at it from a training standpoint. It's like, now I think it makes it easier for you to train an underwriter to be able to do their job, because you're giving them those tools that's already done. And now you can teach them how to go in and do the SMART analysis, which is there in that second look. So I love that part of it. So, okay. So you had stated that this gig economy, you called it, it's really a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity. I think I had read in an interview that you had done. So for our loan originators that are out there, a lot of times they shy away from those guys. Like, ooh, we always say it has some hair on it. It's like, I don't want to do that, right? So now it's like there's an opportunity. Those files that and borrowers you used to kind of walk away from because they were scary, it takes the scary away. So what is your recommendation for originators to say, okay, what can you do to market to this gig economy, knowing that you have a great solution to be able to help analyze what those options are that they're earning income from?
Yes, you brilliant queen bee. That's such a great question. That question, there was an entire panel at the IMN non-QM conference in Dana Point that was around how do you market to this person? And we're a big part of that. We're supporting our partners with, I go to user conferences and we talk about who that consumer is, because that consumer is special. That it's not a consumer that works at Kroger or works at Nordstrom's. It's a consumer that works at Nordstrom's, and then on the way to Nordstrom's, they flip their Uber on. And on the way back, they're doing, DoorDash, right? So that's a very focused individual that can multitask, even though people say you can't. And you've got to get them really quick, and you've got to speak their language, and you've got to make it easy for them. And that's where Prudent AI comes into play. You get that QI top of funnel, you know that you can pre-qual them, because also that consumer does not want to dance with you. That consumer does not want to hear, I can do the loan, and then 10 days before you're supposed to close, you need to find a co-borrower. That consumer will go tell you to pound salt. They want someone that's as efficient and as quick as they are to keep up with them. And that's where you need these tools and technologies like Prudent AI. You've got to speak to them in their language, and they want to feel you being empowered that, yes, I can do this loan with certainty and clarity.
Yeah, I see it as, we have those who focus on, reverse mortgage, and back in the days you do 203K and, rehab loans and things like that. And so having the ability to market yourself to this very savvy group of consumers is huge, in my opinion, as far as helping you grow your business.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking too, Ginger, that for our realtors, we need to market this to them as well, because it really will show how we can bring more deals to the closing table.
And they're going to close.
Yes.
Solidified deals. So it seems like we're talking about this consumer that is, between 35 and 45 and maybe has a young family and is just hustling to make ends meet. I will add to that, and this is a statistic I've been following as well. In European country, 45% of the executives are fractional with 3 or more clients. And we're starting to see that in the United States. And so I think also what's going to happen is there's going to be a shift and a movement to executives in the United States also participating in that fractional role, which turns into self-employed, right? Because many people are self-employed, take in income into an LLC and then W-2 themselves. So, as you were saying, Ginger, so poignantly, when we first opened up, the consumers changed. Regardless of demographic, they've just changed. Needs have changed. And we have to be able to offer products to meet the consumer where they are, and technology to drive those products for efficiency.
Excellent. So I want to shift a little bit, because I often have someone in a group when I'm speaking or, having a conversation that they, say, okay, this AI thing, it's like, how is it going to be handled, regulatory, what are the oversights and things like that. So what are you seeing in terms of like the biggest inhibitors with AI regarding the regulatory aspect, the compliance, the cultural and things like that?
I think that I haven't seen too much in regards to compliance, but regulatory, there's initiatives. As a board member of the California MBA, we watch legislative initiatives very closely in the state of California, as well as nationwide. And so there are a couple of initiatives or bills that are on the floor for consumers to be able to opt out of automated underwriting systems, which have been there since 97.
Yeah.
They were already used, but the AI revolution or movement has caused, certain consumer advocacy groups to raise their hand and say, robots should not be, artificial intelligence should not be approving, consumers, that it needs a human touch. When you think about it, the human touch actually could have the possibility of having some bias, whether a consumer is approving,
100%.
right? So I like to combat that with really, it's artificial intelligence. They don't know this person's economic class. They don't know their ethnicity or their sexual orientation. They don't care. It's not a person with passion or feelings. It's just a robot doing its thing. So we're, as a board member and heavily involved in the legislative portion of the state of California, we're actively trying to educate the government officials as to what really AI is. And if you allow a consumer to say, I want a manual process, that's Ginger, manual underwrites fully increase the cost and timeline, right? So
100%.
That's something that we
And
should.
we've seen that so
Yeah.
much. I mean, the cost of underwriting a file today, and even just getting, I mean, I can't remember the statistic that I saw, but I mean, it's increased double digits over the last, 5 years alone in terms of being able to actually close a file.
Yeah. So, that's one thing that we try to really stay close to. And then there's that, you mentioned something that's really important. There's a cultural aspect, Ginger, from all of our years of having conversations. I'm huge on culture. You've got to have culture, company culture, department culture. That's part of running a business. And so, how we always present the AI solutions to a culture and an organization like George's company is it empowers your team. It allows your team to do what they want to do. And George, I'm sure you as a broker and all of your LOs that you've got working alongside of you, they want to send out a pre-qual letter knowing that file is going to close when it's supposed to close. And so that's how we look at supporting culture within organizations.
I love that. And, to your point of staying involved in the regulatory side and things that are happening, that's why it's important now, honestly, more than ever, is to get involved with your state associations, your national associations, to be able to have your voice and just to stay informed, because we are all in this industry together. And so, whatever that is. So thank you for your commitment to doing that. And I know you've done that for a long time, Paul.
Absolutely.
So, okay. So I want to close it out.
Okay.
But before I do, I want you to really share, as far as for our audience, whether you're wholesale, whether you're a broker, whether you're a lender, how they can get in touch with you, and how, the number one thing that you can do as far as helping them.
Yeah, absolutely. Please feel free to reach out to me, DM me on LinkedIn. My email address, paul@prudent.ai. I have many counterparts that support sales. We've got a great website, Connect With Me website. And, as you're sitting back looking at how you can support the industry and yourself and your lenders and your borrowers and your referral partners, really think about that concept of shifting left. As an industry, we've laid so much on what an LOS can do and what a CRM can do and a POS, but let's talk about getting clarity and certainty at top of funnel. So everything that moves through is moving through with that clarity and certainty.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank
well,
you.
Paul, great to see you. I look forward to seeing you live sometime at an event coming up soon.
100%.
And so stay tuned, more to come. And you can, of course, find us at aibeehive.com. So we're a directory that has AI tools. So you can go and find Paul's company there, as well as other tools that'll help you in your business. So thanks, guys, and make it a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the AI Beehive Podcast, where real estate and mortgage pros get the buzz on all things AI. Don't forget to subscribe, share the buzz, and visit www.aibeehive.com to keep building your smarter business. Until next time.